Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Donovan.
And I'm Jordan.
Join us as we go into the pages.
Podcast! Dun, 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 welcome.
I thought it was like you were singing the Star Wars theme. Oh no, that's not Star Wars. That's Indiana Jones. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, I was going for Superman, so apparently I don't know.
Oh.
Superman.
I'm thinking you're right, Superman. Okay, so the chapters this week are probably some of my most favorite so far in the entire Secret Project stuff.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Because it was kind of exciting.
It was pretty good.
Mostly I just love Cosmere stuff. So
yeah. References.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's always nice when Wit shows up.
Yep. And this is the first time we've in the Secret Project that he's referred to as Wit instead of Hoyd.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, there's something for everyone. Just if you didn't know, Wit and Hoyd are the same person. Yes, today we're going through chapters 7, 8, 9, 10. We didn't do chapter 7 last week.
Oh, we didn't?
No. Well, let's pick up where we left off. So, Nomad is on his way to these rebels, as I've called them. Still on the back of that hover bike with what's-her-face. We don't know her name yet.
Yeah, we don't quite know her name.
Yes, we'll find out soon, though. But this is... I was really glad that it didn't take too long. I mean, we're 7 chapters in now, but he can understand them.
Yeah, his soul connection, or whatever it's called, is complete. And so he can now understand them. But it's interesting because I guess when you do like a soul connection, it's like tricks your soul to think that you were raised on a given planet. So that means if you speak your native tongue, other people, it comes out as the language of the planet.
Yes.
And so he intentionally speaks Alethi so that he can...
So he can still keep his secretness.
Yeah, so he's still not speaking his native language, but so apparently he's not Alethi. Which I guess is another kind of hint of trying to figure out who this guy is.
Yes.
But he does know Alethi, which I guess a lot of people do know Alethi. Alethi's pretty influential.
Yeah, it's like English almost.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yes.
And when this connection is complete, we're able to find out that this woman is riding to Beacon, and her name is Rebecca Salvage.
Salvage. What a name.
I
wonder if this is like, if these people are named after, or this in similar ways as like the Indians. Like her name is Rebecca Salvage because she salvages stuff. I don't know. That'd be kind of funny.
And we also learn that these people are like really weirdly polite in the way that they speak and the way that their mannerisms are.
Yeah.
And later on, Nomad kind of has some speculations about why that is. But we kind of get our first hint because she calls in saying basically like, "Hey, Beacon, I'm coming in."
For a question.
And they're like, "Is that you, Rebecca?" And she's like, if it is agreeable, it is me. Code for admittance is Thankfulness 13. Like, that doesn't really sound like a rebel.
No.
Like a very secure code.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, this is giving me Star Wars feels, but I'm trying to think. I don't remember if we actually hear the codes that they use.
Yeah, they always just transmit them. They was like push a button. They're like, transmit your whatever, and they're like, and
yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And we also learned that the man who had his head blown off, his name is Divinity, because the person's like, "Good to hear your voice. Is Divinity with you?" And you're like, "No, he fell."
Yeah, and so unfortunately for Rebecca, that was her brother.
Yes, her brother.
And the Ember person they were trying to save, the one that was going hardcore after Nomad, is their sister. So one sibling died to save the other, and she's still... I mean, they haven't... We'll see what they do with them. We don't know what they're going to do with an Ember person.
Yeah, we don't quite know. But, yeah, we get some hints about how these people are, because when she tells this guy, his name is Zeal, so another interesting name. And she says, "I'm bringing in someone. If it pleases you to respond with temperance, I would appreciate it."
Yeah. Please be nice.
Apparently, she went against the guidance of the greater good, which we're just kind of skipping ahead a little bit. Is that we find out that's like the village elders essentially.
Yeah.
It's just like a council of
I thought
old people.
I was led through down a path, and before it got to that point, thinking like, is Zeal like their leader that they kind of worship? Because it's like, I only hear this kind of talk in books or anything when they're speaking to someone they view as like a deity, like, "Oh Lord, if it pleases you, we will massage our feet now," or something, But
I think it's more.
So I thought that's how it was, but then we get farther in, and then Zeal talks to other people that way, the same way, like, "Oh, if it pleases you, would you please take Nomad to the," they don't know his name, "but will you please take our person to take a bath," or whatever.
Yes.
So, but
yes.
And then I thought the greater good was the actual deity. Like, there's something that they refer to as the greater good that maybe it's like the shard or something. Yeah. But nope. Yeah, it's the village eldresses.
And then they make it to this place, and it's another floating city, I guess is what you would imagine.
Yeah, it's just not as
Except
big.
they're like hiding in. They're like chasing the. I was about to say the storm, chasing the sun essentially. So they're like in darkness, following the sun as it goes, and that's kind of how they stay hidden from whoever this dude is that they rescued all their friends from. So it's dark.
Yes.
And it seems kind of depressing.
Yeah, and actually this is something I thought was interesting. Like the very first paragraph or the second paragraph, Nomad is even like, "This place is quite spectacular," he says to Auxiliary, and I'm like,
He was talking about the planet in general.
Yes.
He was talking about like, I don't understand how this planet even functions, because like you have a blazing hot sun just scorching the planet. Like this place should have like all these weird weather phenomena.
I guess maybe the way that he's thinking about it is like, it's amazing this place even works.
Yeah.
And that there's people able to survive on here. Maybe I was thinking more he was like, "Oh, this place is so cool. I like it." And like, because I definitely be like, "I want to leave too."
And Nomad kind of gets his hackles raised because when they reach there, everyone's kind of like, "Is he dangerous? Like, who is this dude?" And she's like, "No, he's not dangerous. Like, he helped this guy, the guy he saved. And then he pretended to be a killer, but then he was absolutely no use after that." and then Nomad's like, "Not much use?
Not much use? I love that part. Poor Nomad.
It's because she didn't see him take down the two ships that were following him with no violence. Well, I guess the result was violence, but he himself didn't actually attack or fight or do anything that his torment would consider violent.
Yes.
So pretty impressive.
I do want to go back just a shade. Before we are told that this Amber woman is the sister of Rebecca. Nomad kind of puts together that they are siblings. And the other thing I wanted to point out, because I like to point out all these Cosmere connections. So he just points out that they have light green eyes, and then simply says, "Oh, like they." Well, I guess this is the narrator, whatever, like a shade that might have marked them as nobility on his homeworld. Yeah, so for anyone who has not read Stormlight, people with light eyes are like royalty and nobility type, which is stupid. But it's stupid that a culture would be like that. But I love how Brandon puts that in his stuff like that in his books, because that's totally how people actually are, sadly enough. Anyway, first Cosmere connection right there in this episode.
This one's been full. But yeah, so far all pointing towards Roshar. But then we get our next little guess of who these people might be, like the people on this planet. Because Auxiliary kind of says, "You've noticed the names?" And then we notice the names are like Elegy, Divinity, Zeal. And then it turns out like they sound like Threnodites. Which is actually kind of cool that we did an episode on this.
I think it was fate.
Yeah, so Threnodite, for those who have listened, followed along.
Yeah, let's do a little recap.
So Threnodite is another planet in the Cosmere. There's a little short story in the Arcanum Unbound about an innkeeper and a bounty hunter. And it's pretty good. But Threnodites, like they don't. I don't think that this isn't the planet that they're on, but they think that these are like their ancestors or like where they came from. Because there's mentioned like when they died, because Nomad's saying like, oh, don't when they die they turn into shades, and then then it's like green eyes, then red when they want to feed. And then it says, perhaps this group split off before the shard's death and the events of the after effects took them. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what the crap?
That's
so
one of
what
those parts.
happened?
Yeah. What? But did we know that the shard had died in the Threnodite system?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there was mention of like they fled a part and across the ocean, and then that part was like really bad and like dangerous, and there was like a darkness there that they ran away from.
I could have. I don't remember.
But no, I don't.
There's a little explanation. Maybe we should bust out the book. Yes, let's read the first paragraph that introduces the Threnodite system in Arcanum Unbounded. It says here, the Threnodite system is a site warped by an ancient conflict. Long ago, soon after the Shattering, Odium clashed with and mortally wounded the shard Ambition here. Ambition would later be splintered, though that final act took place in a different location.
So they're guessing that these people left that planet and came to wherever they are now before that happened. Because they still have like the same culture and same type of attitudes, but they don't, there's no shades, or at least they haven't seen any shades.
Yeah, so it's curious. I wonder how these people left the Threnodite system.
Who knows? I mean, they have these ships, and so maybe they found the spaceship and
maybe
or something. I don't know.
What, do we know the name of this planet?
I don't remember. It's been kind of like he just appeared and then going. I don't know if they've explicitly said.
I don't think they have either. Just thinking we do have a little map in the Threnodite system part in this. It just shows all the planets and the sun and, their little galaxy, solar system, whatever. So maybe we'll be able to look at this and see.
Oh yeah, maybe
where they're from, if it does say anything in this.
Interesting.
Yes, and just before they come to the conclusion that, or they're thinking that these guys are Threnodites, Rebecca talks about that she rescued Nomad from the Cinder King, and that has to be the Ember-eyed guy.
I think so.
I think so.
Glowing eyes, as Nomad has been calling them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ember people and then the glowing eyes. That's what it was. But yeah, so we got a title for him, which is good enough. He is the Cinder King,
yes.
Which makes it sound like he's more of a leader than I suspected. I thought he was maybe just like the what the heck they call police forces. I was just thinking he was like the enforcement, the leader of all the enforcement for whoever the privileged people are and the rulers of this system were. But maybe he's more than that than I thought. He does seem like a pretty powerful being if he can suck the souls out of people or whatever he was doing and get powered by him.
That's true. And we get another look at kind of the peaceful disposition of these people. It's because when they land, they kind of start saying like, yeah, you need to go talk to the greater good. Take this, and they ask some guy to like take him to a place. But
I think we should talk about this guy's name who was asked to escort Nomad to his room. Because it's ridiculous.
I don't know what his name is.
Aiden Elysium will remember our plight eventually. That's his name.
Oh yeah.
So I thought this was interesting. First of all, because it's just ridiculous. He's got 5 names in his one name, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jeez. And that's just exhausting. We're Americans, and we abbreviate everything. And saying 6 names for someone's one name would be exhausting.
Yes, actually had that marked that his name was Aiden Elysium will remember our plight eventually. And I wonder if they actually know who Aiden Elysium is.
That's what I want to know. Because I didn't think anyone, maybe, except for perhaps Hoyd, knew who Aiden Elysium was.
And the other shards.
Yeah, and the other shards.
The other shards got their power by killing Aiden Elysium. So I wonder if these people worshipped him before whatever happened.
Yeah, it could be.
And he was destroyed. Just by that name kind of makes it seem like that. But yeah, so their peaceful disposition is further revealed because instead of following this Aiden Elysium guy, Nomad just follows the other people, and they don't.
Yeah,
even,
he wants to go see what's up with the greater good.
Yeah, they don't even try to restrain him or do anything. Like
he did
like,
try.
I tried to do it. And
This 80 Awesome guy did like grab him and try to like lead him, but
but it wasn't like a forceful grab. It was more like, oh, he's confused. Let me get his attention.
Right, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Nomad was easy to just be like,
Yeah, Nomad just like glared at him, and he was like,
yeah, seriously, like, I don't want to do that. So an interesting conversation takes place with these 3 elder ladies who are the greater good.
So that's kind of where so chapter 7, we're at the end of chapter 7. They get to a room, and then we find out the 3 that the greater good are 3 old ladies. So again, like this whole thing is kind of giving me like a small village vibe that has like this great technology to fly around, but they have like this just tiny village. They have like wise women, and everyone has like these super religious names, and they're like all know each other. It doesn't really seem like a super advanced civilization, even though they have advanced technology. I
wonder, maybe we'll get more insight.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, and these people, the greater good women also have what I'm going to consider religious names. Their names are Confidence, Compassion, and Contemplation. And 2 of them are darker skin, similar to Nomad, and one of them's fat. And
that's one of
and white.
That's one of their. That's one of his descriptions or whatever. But I definitely think that definitely seems like a religion that would name people like that.
Like their council of wise people or of elders is called the Greater Good, and their names are Confidence, Contemplation, and Compassion. So interesting there. And we also get our first little bit of art because Nomad kind of acts fairly rude. He kind of just walks in and puts his feet up on the table, and at first they're kind of like, WTF, like, don't do that. But he's able to like glare him down. And then, they just let him do it. They don't try to stop him or anything. But
it definitely seems, it's impressive that they were able to pull off the rescue and the attack on the Cinder King at all if they're this passive.
Yeah, and it's funny because Nomad thought that they would be intimidated, but one of the guys he stared down is actually like really impressed. He's like, "This man's a killer. Like, that's great." He's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that." And then he kind of draws a conclusion later on. He's like, "These people, they're like this because just how their planet is. Like, they're constantly running from the sun, and so they don't have time to."
There's
have
no time
like
for
conflicts, which kind of explains why maybe the Cinder King is so powerful.
No one wants to stand up to him.
Yeah, no one wants to or is able to stand up to him. Yeah, because they're all like these people. Like, if it pleases you to please not do this, and he just like shoots them. And they're like,
whatever.
What do I do? Yeah. And they kind of mentioned that the guy that Nomad saved said that he saw Nomad get touched by the sunlight and not get burned to death instantly.
I don't know if I get burned.
I don't know if I caught this before, but apparently his hair all burned off.
I don't think I caught that either because it talks about this, how he runs his hand through like the stubble of his hair because it would all burned off.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember.
And apparently his investiture didn't heal that when he was healed from the burns or grow his hair out. Or
doesn't instantly grow hair back.
Oh, we learned the name of that the Gape Tooth Man, but I forgot what it was. Oh, Thomas.
I would have just said Thomas, but maybe it is Thomas. I don't know. Thomas. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Thomas.
Whatever.
It does kind of sound like Thomas, just with an accent. Thomas. And so I think Nomad was kind of been thinking here that some of the prisoners are like made to watch the other people get executed because he wasn't there. He wasn't left to be burned by the sun, so he saw Nomad somehow. That's quite cruel.
Yeah, that's what Nomad says, like, pretty cruel.
That's how I think that's what they're going to call Nomad now so they call him a Sunlit Man now. So I think he's apparently got his own Indian name now.
That's like got to mean something though, because like they're saying, like one of the wise women says, a sunlit man, and then Rebecca's like, I disagree. Like, if it pleases the greater good, I disagree. Except this observation. If he were a sunlit one, he'd be helping us, not acting like this. Because he's like, has no manners. And has his feet up on the table and is glaring at everyone. And then he speaks gibberish, which is a Lethe. And it's just the way they talk. If it pleases you, I thought perchance you'd be able to say what manner of man he was. I'm like, what the crap? And then one guy's like, maybe he's a killer. Our own killer. Did you see how he glared at me?
Yes, that was really funny too. Like, it just kind of sounded like he was excited about that.
And his name is Jeffrey.
I guess Thernodites have really weird names.
Yes, and apparently Auxiliary isn't with him right now because he's like, starts to ask Auxiliary a question. He's like, oh wait, all right, he's not around.
But he says it out loud too. I don't think he can't communicate with Ox. Just put through his head. He has to.
At least he hasn't. I don't know if that means he can't, but maybe he can't.
Well, I guess either way, Ox has to be within his presence. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it said what he does with him, but it explains later where Ox is.
Yes, I think it was meant to be kind of a reveal to the reader.
Which I hate those kind of... Well, I hate these kind of reveals because I'll be like, wait a minute, did I miss something? And I go back and like search. I'm like, I have no idea what I freaking missed. And then,
it's like, oh, I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where things got a little exciting for me. So they are kind of like weirded out when Nomad tries to talk to Ox. It's like, such odd words. What like he literally is. I mean, it's got to be like, it almost sounds like this. They've already kind of expressed that this seems like a very small planet because they're able to go around it so quickly and escape the sun. And I guess since it's small, there's only one language. Maybe it kind of is what I'm getting. Like it's such an odd thing that Nomad doesn't speak their language.
They do. I thought they mentioned that he might be somewhere. Oh well, they like, it was like speculation. They're like, oh, maybe he lives like beyond the whatever. But it sounded more like a myth. And they're like, oh, maybe
Yeah, it didn't sound like they were talking about. Like, oh, maybe he's from Europe.
Yeah.
I think you're on to something there.
And then we also learned the true purpose of their mission, which wasn't to save Rebecca's sister. It was to retrieve a metal disc.
Yes, and this metal disc
is from Scadrial.
Is freaking from Scadrial.
Which Nomad recognizes.
Yes, so this is where things got super exciting. Because first of all, I was right. Because I thought last episode, since Nomad recognized what a rifle was and recognized the weapon that they were using was a rifle, I suspect it sounds like he's been to Scadrial, and he recognizes this disc because it's got Scadrian writing on it. So I was excited to learn about that.
And apparently this disc opens up a door somewhere because he recognizes it as a Scadrian authorization key.
Yes.
Which it seems like these people don't really know what it is, but they know it's important because the Cinder King was guarding it or something, and they stole it from him.
Yeah.
And they seem to think that it's going to be their salvation.
Yes,
or it's going to be like a great thing to help them with the Cinder King.
Yes. I don't remember if they mentioned this chapter, but I think what they're expecting is it to open to some underground world where the sun can't touch, so they can live a little easier.
I think they do say that, yeah.
Yes. But before we move on,
because it says what proof of there is if these mystical lands beneath the ground, a place untouched by the sun. And so they're basically, it was one of the confidence, one of the greater good ladies. It's like, I'm not going to take the people there unless we know for sure that this is like what's going to happen, like what this is. So.
Yes, quite right. So back to the authorization key. I thought this was a huge bit of like Cosmere goodness, because the most recent Mistborn era we have is the Wax and Wane, which is kind of like the Old West, or like when the West is kind of more moving on into the more modern stuff,
like industrial age.
Like they had trains and they had some automobiles, but it was kind of like the Old West. Like they had little 6-shooters and stuff, but they did not have the kind of technology yet for authorization keys. Like they probably just had regular. So that makes me think that Nomad has been to a more modern Scadrial, where
Yeah,
they've
it
got.
could be. I think it could definitely be that. I think it could also be like it could be one of these clandestine organizations like the Ghost Bloods that just operate on so many different planets and they have different technologies that other planets haven't quite seen. Like I could see it being that, or because it's just hard to see the time frame of like when all this is happening. Because
It is hard, but there's more about the Scadrians that Nomad is kind of thinking about that makes me believe he's been to a more modern one. Because it talks about
so what I'm going off of is I believe this was in Stormlight. Wit was talking about specifically Harmony and how young he is and how inexperienced Harmony is, and that's why like when he's talking about fighting Odium. And so at the time, I mean, I know Wit's really old, or Hoyd's really old, but Hoyd talking and specifically saying that Harmony is really young and doesn't really know the Cosmere on a whole yet makes me think that they're not like hyper advanced. And the authorization key, I mean, because there's so much they do so much with metal, with their powers and other things with metal. Like maybe it's not like the authorization key we think, where it's like beep and does it. Maybe it's just like some sort of, I don't know.
It is made out of plastic. If that's.
Oh, I thought it was metal.
I thought it was. No, yeah. Oh, plastic key cards were of course eschewed by them.
Yeah, so they don't use them. They had a fetish for metal.
They had oh, okay. So they were saying I was taking that the other way. So
I think, what the hell does eschewed mean? Deliberately avoid using. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so that's
this disc would open a door somewhere, and I know. I mean, because what are those people that have the flying ships? And Wax and Wayne.
Oh.
I don't remember.
People from like the south or some.
Yeah, because they have all those medallions that if you wear them, they make you light, or they make you be able to speak the language of the people. And so it seems like they're able to use just their normal investiture to do pretty cool things. Yeah, and so maybe that's what this is, or so maybe you're right, and it's like they've gone way more advanced.
So that is a really good point. So there's one bit of information that we have that comes up later in these chapters. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but Nomad is thinking of the Scadrian starships. He talks about like.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that was another bit of information.
So that actually probably proves your point more.
That's.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, starships. Okay.
So I am like, holy flip. So this is what I'm going to be watching out for, and unfortunately, I probably have to wait like 8 years for this prediction of mine to come true. But I'm wondering if in the third era of Mistborn, Nomad is going to be there. Maybe he'll be in his own little, like, he'll almost be like the Hoyd. He'll be in, like, maybe the background of whatever main characters are going to be in the third.
Yeah, they're like, who are you? And they're like, he'll be like, just call me Nomad. And we'll be like, son of a gun.
Exactly. but like,
I'm so conflicted with that. And, well, let's
so, okay.
I'll talk about my confliction later.
Okay. I
think
I figured you'd have a confliction. I want to.
I'm so pissed. But, yeah, so kind of to wrap up this, it's just the rest of this chapter kind of skipping over it. They're talking about basically having a debate, like, is this mystical land real? Like, we need to send a team to figure it out. We need to investigate this. And then Nomad just kind of gets up and leaves. It's kind of funny.
Yes. There's one just small thing. I just wanted to get this right because I like what it says, because he refers to, let's see. So Nomad's kind of just thinking about the key. And he just says he's confident that it opens a door somewhere and it would give them some mystical... He's confident that even if they did open a door somewhere with the key, it would not give them some mystical refuge. He said that was a modern device born by Scadrian surveyors to let them be located and give them authorization to return to one of their small exploratory starships. So it sounds like whatever Scadrial he is familiar with is like not only super advanced, but they're so advanced that they've gone out to explore space. So maybe like
straight up Star Trek
series or something. Gosh, like I'm curious if we're gonna start seeing Scadrians everywhere now. Like maybe not in this Stormlight 5, but maybe in the next Stormlight era. I don't know if he's gonna start calling this.
Has there been anything like if you? Because I know specifically with Stormlight. What's his name on the Ghost Bloods? The Stormlight couldn't go too far from Roshar.
Yeah, they were talking about. I don't remember his name either.
So if these Scadrians leave Scadrial, do they still have Allomancy?
Yeah, I wonder because theirs is a little different. Like all the Knights Radiant all the people that are on Roshar need the Stormlight
in order to use their powers.
Yeah,
but I mean, we have design on a completely different planet. Now apparently this the Nomad and his Spren. So it seems like they can obviously leave. But the question is, without Stormlight, they can't use their powers, and so if they can't,
they can still use the blade. Do you think? Because I mean, Nomad.
Because the blade it doesn't require Stormlight.
Okay.
And especially if you're bonded to a Spren. I mean, the Deadeye shard blades, they put the sphere on there to make it be able to disappear and come back, but it wasn't like required to use it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So, what was your point?
My question is just, do these Scadrians that are exploring space?
Right.
Do they have their powers?
Yeah, so that's different. I imagine they just need to bring metal. Metal is not quite the same as Stormlight, so I'm sure that they can move it.
Yeah.
So that's my guess is that,
or
they just bring tons of metal.
Or
did they figure out how to use BEUs too?
Well, maybe. I'm also curious because in Wax and Wane, the power of metallurgy, or what's it called, allomancy, has gone down, and there's no longer any Mistborns.
Oh yeah,
and so I wonder if it's been so far advanced that now it's you can make a coin jiggle. And then
I wonder. So maybe the Scadrians have had to go the way of our world. We don't have those kind of things, so we just have more advanced technology that can do stuff. So maybe that's what they had to do.
Or maybe they're straight up using allomancy to push their ships through space.
That would be interesting.
That's how they make that escape pod work. Because whenever Wax grabs on it and then pushes, and then it makes it launch, and then you can
maybe that could be a dang good clue right there.
Maybe that's how they were able to do it so quickly, because they didn't need to do rocket fuel.
Yeah, they didn't have to figure out all that stuff. They just
needed a coin shot, and they could fly throughout space as long as they have enough steel.
Yeah, steel push.
Yeah, they just need enough steel shavings, and they can.
And imagine since space has no gravity and no opposing force, they probably
just do one big push and then just go.
And they probably can just do a little push, or if they did I don't remember what they called it, but when they burn beryllium or something.
Oh yeah, duralium,
and it burns all the metal and just makes them move super strong. Maybe they just do that rocket. That's 7,000 miles an hour through space or something. I think they would.
I think the Cosmere is all in a galaxy, but still, you think of our galaxy, planets are freaking far apart.
Yeah, and
so it's not like you're going a horse speed. Yeah. You're never gonna get there.
I actually think that the Cosmere is bigger than our solar system, maybe because how we have our solar system, and our solar system orbits our sun, but our solar system and the sun is orbiting the galaxy, the Milky Way, around the black hole. So we're just a small part of this giant galaxy. So maybe that's what the Cosmere is more like. Is maybe there's.
I could see that.
Just because if anyone goes into the Arcanum Unbounded, you can see the Threnodite system, for example, and it shows a sun, and it shows planets in that solar system. Anyway, that's the reason I think that the Cosmere is bigger than a single solar system. But yeah, seriously. But to your point, traveling to a planet in our own solar system is flipping far. Yeah. So Scadrians traveling outside their solar system to other solar systems is they must have a dang fast ship.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're probably booking it or going through the.
Yeah, or maybe they just kind of do the thing that everyone here kind of talks about when you have to travel somewhere. You just what do they call it? It's an Avatar, and they go to sleep or something, and they just sleep for 5 years while they travel to the lunar planet.
Or maybe they travel through Shadesmar.
Yeah,
and they just call their ship Starship, and they just travel through. Shadesmar. And this little access key teleports them into Shadesmar so that they can get to their ship or something. I don't know.
There are so many questions.
And that's why it's a land where the sun doesn't touch, because they go to Shadesmar.
That would be interesting. Maybe the people here the greater good ladies just have it wrong. All of them have it wrong, and it's not
assume it's
some
a
underground
cavern,
underground. It's not an underground cavern like they think it's.
Just
Yeah.
shades.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Holy crap! See, this is why these chapters are so insane to me, because
It's like all these little
opens
things.
up the wormhole into whatever all this could mean.
But then the biggest freaking reveal.
Yeah. So chapter 9.
So first off, a little reveal. We find out where Ox is, and we also find out Nomad's plan, which doesn't really seem like the best plan, but we'll see what he does with it. But when he pretended to drop, when he was fighting those guards when they were being chased, he pretended to drop a rifle, but he actually secured it underneath the hover bike using Ox.
Yes.
And so he went and grabbed it. So now he has a rifle that he can't use.
And Ox is back.
Yeah, and even Ox is like, such a clever plan to get a weapon that one can't use.
Right. And it seems like in this chapter, Nomad's just having like his inner conflict type of thing.
Yeah,
like,
this is where we get the thing where he thinks about like why they're so peaceful. He's like, they're just constantly running. But then we get another huge hint of who this Nomad actually is.
Okay.
Because as he's going, he's like kind of walking around. There's like a rainstorm, and he's just like thinking and pondering.
He does try. He was actually. We should talk about kind of like he went out there kind of like hoping that maybe he'd be able to get some investiture from the storm, but he finds out it's nothing like the storms on Roshar, and it's just a regular storm. There's nothing special about it. There's no investiture there to try to absorb. So sad for him. Not another power source flop.
Yeah. So yeah, as he's walking by, he sees a figure wearing a uniform, and he's like, it couldn't be. Is it? And he walks up and he says, Cal? So we're like, okay, so this freaking dude
knows Kaladin. Okay. Yes.
And then, okay. So we're going to stop there because a whole bunch of things happen. But it turns out it's Hoyd/Wit.
Yeah. Does it say that in this chapter? In
yes.
chapter 9, it doesn't go into chapter 10?
Because it says the figure turned, revealing a hawkish face and an eminently punchable grin. Ah, damnation. Nomad said with a sigh, Wit, what the heck are you doing here? And then the chapter ends.
Yeah. So going back a little bit, there's another clue, I think, to who this guy is. It just talks about he didn't want to go back to being naive, overly confident, or with rules and numbers. Like that's who he was. So that rings a bell. I'm still just like, who the frick is it?
I know, I'm so mad it got spoiled for me. This would be such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Flipping A. So anyway, so he starts talking to Wit, and then it turns out Auxiliary reinforced his connection to Wit.
And that got me at what friggin' connection do they have?
Apparently,
because I thought when Wit first appeared, I thought he was like there, but he's just like a projection or something.
Yeah, it's just like projecting himself. And we get another thing we got to mention. He's holding a sphere. So it's like
so he's got like a Stormlight sphere.
Yeah, and we get a.
What do they call those? Did they call them just spheres?
I thought they were spheres. Yeah,
I couldn't remember if they called them something, because they're also used for their currency.
Yeah, because you have like a ruby spheres, and then you have like clips.
Maybe that's just what I'm thinking of. Anyway,
pretty sure they're spheres. Yeah, we get so it's Wit in the foreground, and then you can see Nomad in the back, who apparently doesn't have a shirt. I didn't realize he didn't have a shirt.
I think it's supposed to be like his clothes are ripped up.
Maybe the artwork he has like straight up.
So maybe
that's just how they did the artwork.
I don't know though, because looking at it again, it looks like he doesn't have anything on at all. It's not just like in tatters. It's like completely gone. So okay.
Yeah, and it looks like Wit's wearing some sort of Kolinar or Alethi uniform.
Yeah, totally. It looks like he's dressed like a soldier.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting to learn that Wit is in fact Nomad's master, as he called him, and Nomad was his apprentice at one point.
Yes. And then this is where we get to the biggest beef I have with this story. Because I seriously feel like this is spoiling Stormlight. I seriously feel like it is. Because it's like this.
See, I wanted to get to that because I
this huge battle,
feel like that now.
It's this huge battle with Odium. We're like, oh my gosh, is he going to win? Or what's going to happen? And then in the sentence, he's like, I don't have time for you, Wit. The Night Brigade is out here hunting me because of what you did to me. He's like, you may have saved the Cosmere. I'm like, okay, what the flip? So something happened. Okay, what the hell? Heck. He's like, I absolutely did not save the Cosmere. I might have said you, though. And he's like, same difference. He's like, it's really not. It's like, if they catch me, they'll be able to connect the Dawn Shard to you. and then they'll be on your trail. So I'm like, okay, now you're bringing in the Dawn Shard, which was freaking being held by that one Thalen chick. And like, now where's the Dawn Shard? Does she still have it? Does flippin' Nomad have the Dawn Shard? And that's his...
I was feeling bad for you thinking about when I was reading through this, because like, holy crap, this really is just like, this is telling us everything is going to end fine on this Stormlight 5.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, because I'm like...
Oh no.
Yes, and then we get our final hint, because I think that solidifies maybe who this person is. But he says, "I'm not your apprentice," and I think I'll be safe. I can't say anything because I know, and it's hard to. But it says, "And don't pretend to care now. You didn't do anything when my friends and I were dying to arrows all those years ago."
Yes, that was another huge clue for me.
So
it sounds like
this is a Bridge 4 person.
Yeah, he was on Bridge 4.
Knows Kaladin.
Who knows Cal?
And then let's see if I can tease it out for you. So he's on Bridge 4. He knows Kaladin. He had a master that taught him about the world. He really liked numbers. Dude, and like
I don't
math
remember.
And stuff.
It has been like 5 years since I read.
If you know,
you need to put it in the comments because I don't know. Oh, but that was it blew my face off. Like, holy crap! So I was thinking this guy was definitely a Windrunner, but there were so many Windrunners that came out later.
Yes,
could have been anyone.
Yeah. He's for sure one of the original Windrunners.
But when he talks about getting the arrows, and so many of them died, so he's 100% like an original Bridge 4 member.
Yeah. So, geez Louise. But yeah, then Whit's kind of like, I never got a chance to apologize for what happened in Alakar. And then here's another hint of what that makes me think that everything ended fine with Odium. Is he says, after frequently talking to it's like, well, he's kind of being sarcastic. He's like, it's not like you had the opportunity, after frequently talking to my superior officer, asking him to pass messages, after living together in the same city for years and never stopping by. And I'm like, years. So he lived in the same city as Whit for years. Okay, so if we think about this now, so Bridge 4 to where Rhythm of War ends. Did that take years?
I don't remember. I wouldn't be surprised though, because I don't think a lot of time passed during the books. Like, I think months happened in certain parts. But
let's say in between.
But in between, yeah,
in between
years.
Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, let's say it was like a couple of years. I don't know. Maybe
I don't remember.
Maybe that's what he's talking about. He's like, we lived together for years. Because when was it that Whit and Yasna come back? Because I thought that happened in Rhythm of War.
I think it happens a little earlier, like in Oath.
Did that happen? Was that?
I think it was the
previous
was the
end
book.
Of like Oathbringer or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I think so. But dang it, I need to go read these. How many words do you think it is for all 4 of those books? 2 million.
Something, I don't even know.
I think Brandon talks about like them being a 400,000 word book. So if that 400,000 times 4, that's a lot.
1.6 million or something. Yeah. But my gosh, so I'm like pissed. I'm like, this better not freaking spoil. This
Seriously,
better not be a spoiler.
Seriously,
I'm like, why is an original member of Bridge 4 being credited by Hoyd of saving the Cosmere, having this crazy curse that Whit talks about a little bit, and he says it's not really like that bad thing. Like I kind of have a similar thing, and it's like, okay, so
what the heck? Torrent or Torment?
Torment. And then, oh damn it, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh yeah, so he's been like traveling forever. Like for a really long time.
It feels
and
like
Whit even says he's like, I've lived for a millennia, so I guess we get Hoyd is at least 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then he says, I think you've seen more of the Cosmere than I have.
Yeah, that blew me away.
So I was like, what the crap? How long has he been running about?
Or I wonder if it's just Nomad is not really exploring the Cosmere like Hoyd does.
Oh, he's just like
he's running away. So maybe he goes to see like in Skadra, maybe he only saw Elendil. He didn't see anything else, and he was there for a week and a half, just long enough to know they had starships and their access codes, and then he was gone, type of thing. So maybe it's just that, But it still is insane that Nomad, who, as far as we can tell, is just a regular guy. I mean, of course, he's got night radiant powers and stuff, but he's not like immortal or whatever the heck Hoyd is. So how the flip did he see more of the Cosmere still? Maybe it's because Hoyd screws himself up a lot. Like he gets trapped as a statue or is an idiot. So he just doesn't get around us very much.
Jeez Louise. But getting past all of that, we get some really good Hoyd backstory that I quite enjoyed. We learned that he was from a planet called Yolin. Or maybe it was just a city. I don't know. Yolin, before all this began, before God died and worlds started ending. And so he's basically remembering when Aiden Alcium was still alive. And before he died and world starts ending, because we know the shards are kind of all falling apart.
Yeah, so he was he was an adult though, wasn't he, when the shards finally?
He was, yeah. I think when they killed Aiden Alcium, he was there and like participated. He also says that a time spent in a land of dragons and bone white trees.
Yes.
And so I'm like, okay. So I wonder if you remember from Tress, whatever that dragon was, knew who Hoyd was. I wonder if that dragon was from
he could have been, because didn't it talk about in there that he was not from Tress's world?
He was not from there.
So maybe that could totally be it. Maybe he's from Yolin. Maybe something happened to Yolin and it got destroyed or something. I don't know. Yeah. Or that dragon just moved away like a lot of other beings.
That's how he knows Hoyd.
That is really cool.
Yes. And this is also what we get, like, where he's saying, so it's a blessing, Nomad asks, gesturing to himself, this torment you've given me. So whatever the heck this torment is, it came from Hoyd. Somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. And so apparently this had something to do with saving the Cosmere / saving Hoyd's life. So, okay, now we're back to, like, this torment is a lot bigger deal than we maybe think. And then Wit's kind of like, every torment is, even mine. And so we're like, okay, so Wit has something.
Yeah.
It's like, what's Wit's torment?
No, honestly.
And I guess there's a lot of things it could be. It was like, is it when he was a statue in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter? Or was it when he was an idiot in Tress? Who knows what his torment is?
Give me a number of things. Oh, I'm definitely hung up on too, and like, what the heck did Hoyd do that got Nomad in trouble with the Night Brigade? And what the crap is the Night Brigade? And so Nomad is just, he's pissed. He's upset about seeing Hoyd. Even though I was kind of surprised that he doesn't like Hoyd or Wit. Maybe I should call him Witness. I don't know. Yeah. But I was surprised he didn't really like Wit, because he made one of his jokes. Oh, when he was a captain, he made that joke like, if you kiss me, I'm gonna bite your lip, or whatever he said. Bite your face off, or I don't remember what he said. And he talked about how his mentor would be proud of his joke. Yeah. And thinking like that, I kind of thought he liked his mentor, but I guess I got the wrong idea.
Well, I think he's also talking about, he kind of has like a self-realization moment. He's like, I have to stop putting my past life on a pedestal, and I have to like become something. I've changed. I need to do something more. And so maybe it was part of that, like just thinking of his life on a pedestal, like in the good old days. He was kind of reminiscing. But we get another little hint here that I thought was interesting. Maybe not a hint, but a little thing. But during Wit's apology, he says, I was wrong. I did the best with the situation I had, hoping it would prevent calamity. I ruined your life and I was wrong. I'm sorry. And so it seems like the whole thing, like prevent calamity.
So what you're saying is he could have prevented what happened with like Steelheart and the Reckoners. That's what I thought of. That's not in the Cosmere, but my mind still went there. It was like, oh, wait a minute, what was that?
I'm thinking, because I mean, the whole war with Odium on Roshar is Odium, and I don't remember if it's ever explained it, at least I don't remember why he's stuck on Roshar. And like the whole goal is to keep him on Roshar so he can't go and kill the other shards. And so it seems like Hoyd had a plan to make that happen, and Nomad was kind of the sacrifice to make it work, is the impression I'm getting, which is pissing me off. And I hope I'm wrong, because I'm like, if Brandon releases this and gives all these spoilers, I'm like, then what the heck? That makes me so angry. So I'm probably wrong. All my predictions have been completely wrong up to this point. But I mean, it just seems like it's pointing to like, oh yeah, the war on Roshar is over. And
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
maybe it's one of those things. Like maybe because don't we know that there's going to be like 3 arcs in the Stormlight archive, or was there?
I think so, yeah, because he said this is the last book of this arc, but I thought they were all going to be around the same time frame, though. Just different perspectives.
Yeah, because maybe I'm just totally throwing shots in the dark or whatever. But maybe this is kind of like they thought they stopped Odium, but then or maybe someone else worse comes. Maybe it's like one of those things where like they stop. So I'm thinking of like they stop Ultron, but then there's a Thanos out there.
Oh yeah.
So maybe something like that, or maybe they just kind of stop him from now, and he has to go off and recover. Then he's going to come back for the second arc or something like that. I don't know.
Who knows?
But I don't know. I am hoping Brandon pulls through for us. And maybe this is gonna. Maybe he wrote all of this knowing we'd be asking all these questions, and now he's gonna throw us the biggest curveball ever in Stormlight 5.
So, yeah, that's when the conversation with Wit ends, and he kind of his little apparition fades away.
Yes.
And then this is when Nomad tells Auxiliary of the access key. He's like, "We gotta get off this planet. I know how. There's an access key, has Scadrian writing on it, and if there's a power source on this planet powerful enough to get me off this world, it'll be with them." And then Auxiliary's like, "Oh, so what do we do?" And then the chapter ends with he bursts back in, and this is another part of like just how peaceful these people really are.
None of them went after him.
No one went after him. He storms off, and he comes bursting in carrying a rifle. And they have no idea who he is, and he's holding a rifle. He bursts in, and there's leaders everywhere, and he says no one even like reaches for a gun or like does anything to stop him. They kind of just like look at him.
Yeah, they don't go for him to like, well, hey, put the rifle down, or no one pulls their own weapon out.
He's like, yeah, they were doomed. That's what he says. He's like, yeah, they were doomed, but maybe their designs aligned with his. And then that's when he grabs it off, and then he speaks perfectly in their language. He's like, I know what this is. It's a key to a large metal door. Like, I'm going there too. Like, maybe we can help each other.
Yeah. So I would pay a few pence to I want to see their faces. I want to like everyone to like he speaks really weird, and like they think he's
like you can understand.
Like Rebecca thinks he's useless. She has no idea that he saved her butt from was there 3 ships or 2?
2 ships with 8 Ember people.
Yeah, she has no idea that not only is he not only is he not useless, but he is way more resourceful because he took out all those people not being able to actually throw his own punches type of thing.
Yeah. So yeah.
But
this was a good chapter to kind of throw us into like Cosmere predictions, and then kind of the cliffhanger of the chapter is like, okay, let's get back to the story that's happening on this planet,
which kills me.
So it's kind of like
this is really interesting because before we started any of these secret projects, I kind of was thinking we'd get little hints here and there, and we'd see like, oh, they talk about these other things that are in all the other Cosmere books, but I did not think it would be like us questioning if this gives away what's going to freaking happen in Stormlight 5 in the battle with Odium.
I have faith in Brandon that he wouldn't do that, but I'm still like,
it's
my
really
mind
hard to
is
ignore.
still
You're
like,
what's happening?
Son of a Brandon.
Brandon's going to be sleeping good tonight knowing he is putting us through torture.
Right.
We'll have to ask him at Dragonsteel, what the F, man? I'm going to be really interested to see what people say on his book club about the Sunlit Man, if they're going to be asking the same questions or if we're smarter than them.
We are smarter than them. Just kidding.
Oh, boy. I wonder that the next few chapters are going to kind of be not let down, but they're not going to be this juicy, so they'll still be really good.
Of course they'll be good. I have complete faith in Brandon.
Thanks, Dragon.
And all of this, instead of making me like not want to read Stormlight 5, it's like I need to read it right now.
Right. That's exactly what it is. That's what this is. This is just a whole book to really get us amped for the next book.
So yeah, good stuff.
Yes. Everyone, you all better stick around for when we get to Stormlight 5. We're going to have to get some answers.
Yeah. For real,
It'll be a while, probably. But, I mean, I wonder if he'll release it next November or...
Hopefully. I thought he was close.
He is. If you watch... I watched his most recent, update video, and he was, 85 or something %.
Okay. So another year to
Yeah.
get
So, I mean...
editing and...
He's doing really good, I think, if his goal is for November. If he wants to get it done in January, then he's better get busting. Oh, I think he was even talking about it's due a couple weeks before Christmas. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means he has to have the entire book written or his draft written and all his maybe some revisions done, and then he has to submit it to the editors or whatever. I don't know how making a book works.
Me either.
All I know is how to go to Barnes & Noble and buy it.
Right, and how agonizing it is to wait.
Yes. Well, having that being said, here we go, waiting.
Agonizing.
And we hate to say it, but that's the end of the episode. So you guys will have to wait till next week to get
Just
the
like
next.
us.
Yes.
Unless you're ahead and you've already read all this. And you're just laughing at our pain.
Yes. Are you guys out there like Brandon, I know what happens, some suckers.
Well, thanks for joining us.
It was
Another
fun.
week. Next week, we'll continue to find out what's going on with Nomad, who the crap he is, what his plan is, get off this planet, how he's going to kill the Ember King.
Probably will have to kill that Cinder King.
Oh, Cinder King.
He could be the Ember King, too.
All right, bye. It's over.